Good morning slash afternoon, folks. And today we talk about some wins, some Big Ten wins and upsets. Now, I'm not going to do every single Big Ten team. I'm going to do a handful. Penn State Bowling Green, 34. Number 8 Penn State 34, Bowling Green 27. Not the best win from Penn State by all means. Absolutely disgusting, actually. Dreyer went 13 of 20 for 204 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Nicholas Singleton, 13 carries, 119 yards, 1 touchdown, 41 the longest, 9.2 average, 234 total rushing yards. Number 44, Tyler Warren, 8 carries, 146 yards, 30 the longest. Number 18, 18.3 average, 438 total yards. Now, Penn State defense, 254 yards passing, 121 rushing yards, 365 total yards. Iowa State versus Iowa. Caden McNamara, number 12, went 13 of 29 for 99 yards, 2 interceptions, 3.4 yards average. Caleb Johnson, number 2, carried 25 times for 187 yards, 2 touchdowns, 7.5 yards average, and 54 the longest. Number 5, Jacob Gill, 4 receptions, 47 yards, 21 the longest, 11.8 average yards, 204 yards rushing for 303 total yards. The Iowa defense went 272 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 89 rushing yards, 361 total yards. That's telling you a lot. Now, Wisconsin, a team that struggled against Western Michigan, who we'll get to later, played a very sound and talented good South Dakota team. Tyler Van Dyke, number 10, went 17 of 27 for 214 yards, 1 touchdown, 7.9 average. Number 10, Cade Yakimelli, went 8 carries, 73 yards, 29 the longest, 9.1 average for 171 total yards. Number 4, CJ Williams, 2 receptions, 53 yards, 1 touchdown, 50 the longest, 26.5 yards average, 385 total yards. Wisconsin defense, 114 yards passing, 123 rushing, 237 yards altogether. Now, Illinois. Number 9, Luke Altmaier, 16 of 25 for 192 yards, 7.7 average. Caden, number 3, Caden Fegan, 16 carries, 40 yards, 1 touchdown, 8 the longest, 2.5 average for 79 yards. And Zachary Franklin, 9 receptions, 99 yards, 11 average yards, 42 longest, 271 yards for 209 the longest. Now, Illinois, total yards, 271 total yards. Now, Illinois defense, 141 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 182 rushing yards, for 323 total yards. That, with the upset win over number 19, Kansas, 23-17. Now, we go to Colorado versus Nebraska. Nebraska quarterback number 15, Dylan Raiola, went 23 of 30 for 185 yards, 1 touchdown, 6.2 yards average. Number 23, Dante Dowdle, went 17 of 70, had 17 carries for 74 yards, 2 touchdowns, 14 the longest, 4.4 average for 149 yards. Number 14, Ramir Johnson, 8 receptions, 49 yards, 1 touchdown, 18 the longest, 6.1 average for 334 total yards altogether. Now, Nebraska defense, 244 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and 16 total rushing yards for 62 260 total yards. Now, possibly 290 if they didn't have the negative 30 yards on that. Because that would have been 46 total yards. Now, on to the other part of this. You have the upset. With Northern Illinois 16, number 5, Notre Dame 14. Notre Dame offense as Duke quarterback transfer. Number 13, Riley Leonard, went 20 of 32 for 163 yards, 2 interceptions, 5.1 yards average. Number 4, Jeremiah Love, 11 carries, 79 yards, 1 touchdown, 34 the longest, 7.2 yards average. Had 123 total yards. Then Bo Collins, number 5, 5 reception, 45 yards, 15 the longest, 9 yards, average 286 total yards. Now Notre Dame defense, 198 passing yards, allowed 190 rushing yards, 388 total yards. Now we go up the middle here to Oregon. Dylan Gabriel, 18 of 21, 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, 11.5 yards average, 350 yards. Number 20, Jordan James, 17 carries, 102 yards, 12 longest, 6 yards average, 109 yards. Number 7, Evan Stewart, 5 receptions, 112 yards, 1 touchdown, 67 the longest, 22.4 yards average. That was a total of 354 total yards altogether. Now, Oregon defense, 148 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 221 yards, 3 touchdowns for 369 total yards. With number 7, Oregon 37, Boise State 34. Very close game. Still not an identity to be found. Now we get Ohio State number 2 versus Western Michigan. Will Howard, number 18. It was 56-0. A resounding victory for Ohio State. Number 18, Will Howard, gets 292 total yards and went 18 of 26 for 292 yards, 1 touchdown, 11.2 yards average for 300 total, 90 total yards passing. Quashon Junkins, 9 carries, 108 yards, 1 touchdown, 80 the longest, 12 average, 269 total rushing yards. Jeremiah Smith, 5 receptions, 119 yards, 1 touchdown, 70 the longest, 23.8 average, 659 total yards. Then the Ohio State defense, 71 yards passing, 28 yards rushing, 99 total yards. Not even 100! This is like 20-1. Now we get Texas versus number 3, Texas versus number 10, Michigan. Davis Warren, 22 of 33, 204 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Number 6 with 6.2 yards average. Number 7, Donovan Edwards, 8 carries, 41 yards, 5.1 yards average, 12 the longest. The number 18, Colston Loveland, 8 receptions, 70 yards, average 8.8 average, 70 yards, 8.8 average, 24 the longest, and 284 total yards. Michigan defense, 246 yards passing, 143 yards rushing. This here tells you all you need to know about Michigan, Ohio State, and Oregon. Oregon still trying to figure out their identity, even though they won the first 2 games. Ohio State seems to have found their identity, even though they struggled the first half against Akron, but they managed to find their identity in the second half. Now, Michigan, on the other hand, they played against a very talented Texas team. And that Texas team is just a very good team. No, hands down, Texas is just a talented team this year. And it's going to be an uphill battle from here because Michigan's got Oregon this year at home. They also have USC, who's ranked. I mean, it's not getting any easier for Michigan from here on out. Plus, they got Ohio State on the road. This is going to be a rough road ahead for Michigan. And more about that later on as we will discuss the release of what went on later on. I'm going to put more stats down and we'll talk about that later on today. Later on, maybe tonight. With that being said, I'm out of here. Peace.